how should be your ideal circadian day? So in all of our studies, we advise that people should set aside a consistent 8 hours bedtime. It's not you have to sleep for 8 hours. This is your 8 hours quiet time when you go to bed so that you can sleep at least for 6 to 7 hours. Good if you can sleep even more than that. And then after waking up, avoid eating for at least 1 hour after waking up, because that's when your melatonin is still halfway down and your cortisol is peaking, and both of these hormones are bad for our metabolism. So that's why avoid eating for at least 1 hour. In most of our studies, what we see is people wait for 1.5 to 2.5 hours even. And then choose a consistent eating time. In most of our studies, we ask people to eat within 10 hours, not 8, because 8 is difficult. And sometimes when you eat within 8 hours, you may reduce your energy intake, you may eat less. And so 10 is ideal. And then you can go up to 11 or maximum 12, but not beyond 12 hours. Because if you go beyond 12 hours, then you are eating very close to your bedtime. That's bad for your blood glucose control and also bad for your sleep. And also no bright light for 3 hours before bedtime, because if you dim down the light, then that drives your melatonin release automatically. And during daytime, if you can, daytime activity, and you can combine it with daylight, so late afternoon walk, brisk walk or outdoor exercise is the best. So we have done quite a few studies. I will not go into details. So the first study we did was almost 10 years ago in 2015. And that's the time when we thought, well, people are eating for 15 hours. Can they actually choose a 10-hour window and stick to it? Because, there are many discoveries. People will say, well, avocado a day will keep your heart healthy. Can people eat one avocado every single day? So as scientists, we got to ask that question. So we had only 8 people. This is the eating window in red. And then the self-selected eating window, that's in blue. And they had to do it for 16 weeks. And then they lost a modest amount of body weight. They are not obese, they're overweight. And then after 1 year, they still maintain that body weight. So that was really exciting. And when we asked them, why did you keep to this schedule? What is the benefit on a day-to-day basis? They said they were more energetic in the morning and they slept much better at night. And those are the 2 things that drove them to adopt this, what is now popular as intermittent fasting. And everything else falls into place, because if you sleep better and if you're more energetic and your mood is better, and when people eat within 10 hours, they also improve their diet quality, because they don't have enough time to drink in the late afternoon, late evening. And the dessert intake also goes down. The breakfast quality improves. So a lot of indirect benefits happen. So I've gone to many other studies, and I'll not list up all of them. The other one was metabolic syndrome, when people have high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, or obesity. And what we found was, even though they were already taking medication, they can combine 10-hour eating, and that improved their weight, subjective sleep satisfaction, blood pressure, and cholesterol. So that was only with 19 people, but we expanded. Now we have completed now a randomized controlled trial with 100 plus people. Then we asked whether San Diego firefighters who are doing 24-hour shift, can they do 10 hours eating? And this was a risky trial, because 75 firefighters were selecting 10 hours and eating, even on the day they were on the job. And the risk was whether they will respond late to 911 call. And the good thing is they liked it, they loved it. Those who were healthy, they continued to be healthy. And those who had high blood pressure, sugar, or LDL cholesterol, they improved their health. And this is the last study with metabolic syndrome. And what we found was, and I'll give you one example. This is an example of a person who was getting up around 5 o'clock, 5:30, had his breakfast, going to work, and then had one meal, lunch there, and then in the evening would come back and eat dinner before 7 p.m. And everything looked fine, but was actually eating within a long window. So we asked this person to delay the breakfast, take breakfast to work. So now he was eating within a 10 hours window. And the orange is the 24 hours blood glucose measured by continuous glucose monitoring at baseline or before this intervention. And you can see most of the time the blood sugar was above 125. So technically he was a type 2 diabetic. And after just 12 weeks, his blood glucose almost normalized. His fasting blood glucose became 85. This was done with UCSD cardiology department. So we have quite a few examples like this. And then just recently we did a study that we never thought would work. So many people who had COVID, the post-COVID, 1/3 of post-COVID patients actually have a syndrome called POTS. The bottom line is these people, when they stand up, the heart rate goes up by 30 points or more. So they cannot walk, they cannot take stairs, and many of them cannot keep a regular job. And when we asked them to do this 10 hours timeless eating, and this was a really, we never thought that this would work, only because of Pam Taub, who is the cardiac rehab director in UCSD. She pushed through this, and then we had 20 POTS patients, and we found nearly half of them improved their POTS to the extent that they are no longer diagnosed as POTS patients, because when they stand up, their heart rate is not going up by 30 points. So this is exciting. It just came out, and we are applying for a randomized control trial with larger study. So the bottom line is there are now almost 100 or 150 human studies on timeless eating or intermittent fasting. There are nearly 150 more that are registered that will come out. There are at least 250 mouse and animal studies, and all of these are showing that this timeless eating or intermittent fasting, at least 10 hours in humans, improves a lot of different conditions, from immune system to cardiovascular system to brain health. Even it reduced cancer relapse among breast cancer survivors and improved sleep. And in mouse model and rat model, it increased lifespan. And even rats that were eating longevity diet and they were living 10% longer, mice, when they combine that with intermittent fasting, although they're eating the same calories from the same longevity diet, now they don't live 10% longer, they live 35% longer. So that was really surprising, and that really says that combining healthy nutrition, combining quality, quantity of nutrition within a set window actually improves your health. Not only that, the circadian rhythm has a lot of other implications. So for example, if you slept better for 7 days and then took your vaccination in the morning, then you have much better protection than the same vaccination taken in the late afternoon or if you haven't slept. So similarly, there are now heart surgeries that seem to be much better outcome if done in the afternoon than in the morning, and by the same team in the same hospital. That came out from Europe. And as I said, chemo and now immunotherapy and even your pain medication taken at bedtime has much better effect on joint pain in the morning than the same pain medication in the morning. So this is a new field called Chronomedicine. To learn more, you can go to the website My Circadian Clock and we still have the app, and we just finished 200,000 users, and we have a large paper coming out. And we are also partnering with various organizations and even in the private sector to collect more data to see when people do their daily lifestyle, because I think this fixing your daily lifestyle is a very powerful way to live up to 100 years. And in future, not in distant future, most of your apps will actually compute this and will tell you how to live your life. So here is a 30 days challenge. And the challenge is to try to adopt. If you're not doing, then you can adopt a 10 hours eating, try to be in bed for 8 hours, and try to dim your light for 2 to 3 hours, and then be active outdoor for at least somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour. And if you try to build this habit in 30 days, then the habit will drive you to your 100-year mark. Thank you.
Thanks.